Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So assuming you don't know, and I'm not sure why you would, I am smaller in stature. And because of that, I always idolized athletes growing up, as I was an athlete myself and still try to be with playing soccer, hockey, among other things. I've always idolized players, whether they be in the NHL, MLB, etc., when it comes to being smaller in stature. So me personally, as a Rangers fan, I always looked up to Matt Zuccarello. He's arguably my favorite player of all time, not just for the New York Rangers, but in general. And seeing the adversity that he has faced as a smaller stature forward, being way below 6 foot, of course, and overcoming all these adversities and the discredited scouting that he got by plenty, which went hand in hand with him not even being considered and drafted as he was drafted. He wasn't drafted. He was a undrafted free agent signed by the New York Rangers out of Norway. He is a perfect example of guys who just don't get enough credit they deserve because of their stature. And when you look at the NHL Draft and its scouting, this has been a trend for decades now, but over the past 10 years especially, the NHL has changed its overall play in many ways. And if you look at the NHL today, there is no question that it is, of course, a speed game. It is, of course, when it comes to forwards, especially that know how to be good, not just in the offensive zone, but in their own zone. All-around game needs to be solid. And size does not nearly matter as much as it used to be. We are not in a day of age where we're looking for enforcers, grinders, goons, whatever it may be. This is not a time where when you draft guys, say in the middle or later rounds, you don't just draft guys 6'4" when they have raw talent, but you just want to throw them in the bottom 6. Nowadays, you have plenty of talented forwards of all sizes and plenty at 6 foot and under that are all throughout the lineups of these NHL teams. And for years now, especially over the past decade, there have been many NHL scouts that still use the stereotype of looking at a player solely on their size and not their statistics and development and evaluating them. Look at Johnny Gaudreau, Alex DeBrincat, Braden Point, Jake Guentzel, Adam Fox, Killer Yamamoto, Cole Caulfield, Nic Robertson, Alex DeBrincat, if I didn't mention him already. The list goes on, and these are some guys I'm going to discuss with you today who either fell in their draft significantly because of the fact that they're smaller in stature, of course, so they either fell out of, say, being a top 5, top 10 pick when they had that talent, or they fell way out of the first round into the second, third, and even fourth round solely because of their size and not their statistics. So now I'm going to break down for you all these players, their statistics, how they did in their draft years, and why they were slept on, and why this is an ongoing problem in today's NHL still, and really needs to get away with sooner rather than later, because stereotypes, of course, are not a great thing, and teams looking back are really regretting missing out on a lot of these players I'm going to discuss with you, and there's good reason why they should not be slept on. Yes, I understand there are, of course, smaller forwards that do get drafted high that say never fully developed, transition to that NHL level because they say can't defend themselves, among other things. But the same can be said and more when it comes to guys over 6 foot, as there is a huge gap between NHLers that are 6 foot plus and under 6 foot. There's been plenty more that have been drafted thinking that they would be good just because of their size, as say a big body defenseman or a sizable centerman, and don't do anything at the NHL level, and they are just viewed solely on their size. That should not be the case, and I really hope that years going forward that changes, but it still hasn't. And if you see almost every single draft year, there's at least one or more players that really fall out of where they were originally ranked by many different prospects and scouting, all in part because of their size. So starting with Johnny Gaudreau, you probably know this story by now, but starting off with him in 2011, the game was different than what it is now, but not too drastically. Gaudreau, of course, was drafted in the 4th round, 104th overall in the 2011 draft by the Calgary Flames. If you look at his stats for his draft year in the USHL, in 60 games played, he had 72 points, including 36 goals and 36 assists. He won the Rookie of the Year in the USHL that year and still fell all the way to 104th overall. Looking back at Gaudreau now, he has been one of the best players in all of the NHL, no question, and he's currently ranked 3rd in points in all of the NHL, only trailing the likes of Gabriel Landeskog and Nikita Kucherov, who are both fantastic in their own respects. But regardless, Johnny Gaudreau, an amazing player, and was completely slept on just because of his size, and clearly was not scouted enough because of that. Others, Jake Guentzel, of course, who is a fantastic player as well for the Pittsburgh Penguins, who is a 40-plus goal scorer, has proven that now on the NHL level. And Guentzel was drafted in the 3rd round, 77th overall in 2013 by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Another diamond-in-the-rough type pick they had. But in reality, he really shouldn't have been given how good he was playing into his draft year. Playing in the USHL as well, similar story to Gaudreau. In 60 games played, he had 29 goals, 44 assists for 73 points, and he's currently ranked 11th in his draft class in overall points with 200 even. So another guy clearly slept on, clearly discredited because of his size, and proving yet again that the size does not matter, as his overall game is very strong and is very good on the puck as well, and is not afraid to get in players' faces by any means. He will truly do it all, and he's been a fantastic addition to the Pittsburgh Penguins lineup since arriving there. Next, you have Braden Point, who is an amazing player, who Steve Yzerman did a fantastic job in scouting him, as clearly every other NHL team was not looking at him, and really should have been, considering how good he was going into his draft as well. Braden Point, as we know, was drafted in the third round, 79th overall in the 2014 draft, I should say, by the Tampa Bay Lightning. In the WHL in his draft year, Braden Point lit it up with 36 goals, 55 assists for 91 points, and currently stands fourth in all of his draft class and overall points with 262. Yet again, another guy clearly under 6 foot that is proving just how good he is, and was not scouted nearly enough or just pushed away, an afterthought because of his size. Next, you have Alex DeBrincat, who's arguably my favorite guy on this list that I have for you, if not one of my favorites easily. DeBrincat, as we all know, I'm pretty sure he was one of those players that received exceptional status going into juniors, which only a select few players get. So that was impressive enough, assuming that happened, because I think it did. But since then, DeBrincat has proven time and time again just how fantastic of a goal scorer and overall player he is, but was discredited because of the fact that he is under 6 foot. Alex DeBrincat fell all the way to the second round, 39th overall in the 2016 draft, when in his draft year for the OHL, he lit it up in 60 games with 51 goals and 50 assists for 101 points. Like, are you kidding me? And he fell all the way to almost halfway through the second round just because of his size. Good thing the Chicago Blackhawks swooped him up, because he looks like he's going to be a crucial part to their future. But DeBrincat is currently already fourth in his draft class as well in overall points with 173. Next, now you have Adam Fox, and he's a more interesting story if you don't know by now. Adam Fox, the rookie defenseman for the New York Rangers, had a very interesting story leading his way to the Rangers. He, of course, grew up on Long Island, diehard Ranger fan growing up, and he was originally drafted by the Calgary Flames in the third round, 66th overall in 2016, but he was set in stone to play with the New York Rangers and no other team. So he did just that. He used his upper hand knowing he was going to Harvard for college and did not have to commit to any team he was currently with in the NHL. That is right, so he did not play with the Flames. He did not play with the Hurricanes when he was traded with them. And he ultimately started playing with the New York Rangers this year and had a fantastic rookie season with 42 points. But regardless, Adam Fox, in his USHL draft year, he had 25 games played. He had 5 goals, 17 assists, 22 points. Easily an offensively minded defenseman with a great two-way game that was scouted by many with possibly elite potential, really boomer bust type pick. And a lot of teams slept on him because of that and his stature being under 6 foot. I believe he's around 5'10". But Adam Fox, only playing in a rookie year, he only has 42 points and hasn't played a full season. He's already tied for 15th in his entire draft class in points, and he's tied with, ironically, his teammate on the New York Rangers, Brett Howden. So that's kind of funny in itself. But regardless, Fox, it looks like an electric defenseman for the New York Rangers. Easily their best already, in my opinion. And will go down along with the likes of Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes as some of the best defensemen in all of the NHL going forward, coming out of this 2019-2020 rookie class. But next now you have Killer Yamamoto, and he's a fun story as well. Yamamoto, I was a huge fan of watching his highlights and seeing the scouting reports on him going into his draft in 2017, and he fell a lot farther than I thought he would, and I was really hoping the Rangers would pick him up, but they didn't, obviously. Yamamoto fell all the way to 22nd overall in the first round, and yes, I know that isn't nearly as much of a gap as, say, other guys, whether it be DeBrincat, Point, Johnny Hockey, etc., but it still shows that size is a crucial factor into a lot of teams in their scouting. Yamamoto, in only 53 games played, has 31 AHL points, and going into his draft year, going back a second, in 65 games played in the WHL, he had 42 goals, 57 assists for 99 points. Guarantee you, if he was 6 foot plus, he would easily have been a top 10 pick, but he wasn't because of his size. That was the biggest concern with him. That's why he fell all the way in the Oilers' lap at the 22nd overall pick. And only playing 53 games in the NHL already, he is currently 10th in his NHL draft class that year in points overall with 31, like I said. And he has really taken his game to a next step this year since being called up by the Edmonton Oilers. Playing along the likes of Leon Draisaitl especially was doing a great job with him, and looks like he will be an NHL mainstay going forward, hopefully, because I'm a huge fan of his electric speed and a great overall playmaking ability, and I really hope he continues to develop and transition better into the NHL. But next now you have Cole Caulfield and Nic Robertson. Yes, I know they haven't played a game in the NHL yet, but it just goes to show that they both fell in their draft because of their size. Cole Caulfield, undoubtedly the best pure goal scorer in the draft for the 2019 class, but fell all the way to the 15th pick for the Montreal Canadiens because of his size. I believe he's around 5'7", 5'8", not much taller than that or shorter. But Cole Caulfield, he was drafted in the first round, like I said, in the USHL in that draft year for him. He had, in 36 games played in exhibition games, he had 43 goals, 16 assists for 59 points. Ridiculous. Then in normal USHL games in that same season, in 28 games played, he had 29 goals, 12 assists for 41 points. Remarkable numbers, and he has now the National Team Development Program goals record with 72 in a season, combining the exhibition games and the normal USHL games. And he broke the previous record, which was set by Austin Matthews with 55, and before that it was Phil Kessel. So just shows Cole Caulfield easily was a top 5 talent in his draft last year and just completely fell out of the top 10 because of his size. And I think it's really going to bite the teams that didn't go for him. And the Montreal Canadiens land is stud in him. And he's perfect for them when you look at it because the Canadiens are known for smaller statured forwards especially. So I expect him to do just fine there. But next now you have Nic Robertson, who's the last guy I'm going to talk about for this video. He's a prospect for the Toronto Maple Leafs, in which they landed him all the way at the 53rd overall pick in the second round back in 2019 when he was easily a first-round talent. In his draft year in the OHL in 54 games played, he had 27 goals, 28 assists for 55 points. And the only reason why he fell as far as he did, besides him still needing to develop a little bit, of course, was because of his size. He's 5'9", and this year, playing in the OHL again, he had 86 points and did a fantastic job. And it looks like he will be with the Toronto Maple Leafs when they start their playing round against the Columbus Blue Jackets sometime this summer. So Robertson looking great there, but just a couple examples. I know there's plenty of other guys that I haven't mentioned on this, but these were all the ones that first popped in my head that just shows the discredit that they unfortunately got because of their size and the poor scouting. And I really want to know, when is this stereotype going to change in the NHL when it comes to its teams and their scouting? Because it is proving more and more that size means less and less in a speed game, which is the NHL nowadays. But that is going to conclude this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you like this kind of NHL content, as I do all things NHL related for you lovely people. And this was a topic I've been wanting to talk about for quite a bit. And if you haven't checked out my previous videos, I'll have them right down here below for you. Please hit like, subscribe, comment if you like all this kind of stuff. Thank you all again so much, and I'll be back in a day or two.